This is match number 4, a foursome match between the European team represented by Rory McIlroy and Ian Poulter against the United States of America team represented by Patrick Cantlay and Xander Schauffele. First on the tee, representing Europe, Ian Poulter.
Lives for this occasion, doesn't he? It was a captain's pick. It is a familiar pairing. We saw it at Le Golf National. Thomas, you paired them together. We saw it at Medina on that famous Saturday afternoon when Ian Poulter just couldn't stop making birdies late on and just gave the European team some glimmer of hope to take into Sunday.
Yeah, he loves these occasions. He's made for it. You know, people criticize him for a lot of things, but he brings it this week.
Now on the tee, representing the United States of America, Patrick Cantlay.
Well, you can't be surprised where that went. It was always going to go down the middle.
The FedEx Cup champion steps onto the first tee.
The referee for this match is Charles Hine. Good luck.
No real weaknesses in the game of Patrick Cantlay. Rory at the first.
That's excellent from Schauffele.
It's a poor pitch into the first for Rory McIlroy. And he has left Ian Poulter with this putt for birdie. The American's in about, what, 6 feet or so away.
I don't think anybody watching around the world would be surprised at all if Poulter just started things off with a long birdie putt made from the fringe. I mean, that's what he does here.
Yeah, it's a tricky one, this. Coming right off that shoulder. And it comes onto the green. It's going to break a lot coming off the first part on the fringe there, and then it's just going to kind of fall down to the hole. It's a tricky one. Going to gather speed when it gets on the green. It's tough to get it high enough on the line. It's a good putt.
And he hasn't missed many of these over the last couple of months or so.
Now, pretty straightforward putt here. You don't want to give the hole away.
Yeah, pretty solid. It's an easy putt, but you still have to put a solid stroke on it. Well delivered.
They played together in the President's Cup in 2019. They won both their foursomes matches, Cantlay and Schauffele, so they do have form together in this format. And there you go. Let's go to the second, and Schauffele.
It's turning a little bit. He's going to stay up. There's a few bushes down there. Bunkers, all sorts.
There's bunkers everywhere, Thomas, to be honest, aren't there?
What is it on the 8th? There's about 102 bunkers on the 8th. I'm wondering when they built it and said, oh, we made 88 bunkers out of it. Well, let's make a few more.
Good one for McIlroy at the second.
We go to the second. Third shot for Schauffele here. Have to find a bit of trouble off the tee. And this should be dancing around the hole. Oh. That's a tricky one coming there. It's going to be fast when he gets on that green now.
McIlroy in trouble at the second.
Going to see a lot of shots like this. Awkward lies in these small little bunkers. Sometimes he did well to get out of that bunker. Sometimes you're going to see these little bunkers where you can't get a stance and you can't get out of the bunker.
It's very awkward. Difficult to reach the ball. Seve Ballesteros would have loved playing around here. He was a master. And to be fair to Ian Poulter, he's hit a really, really good chip shot to get it to here. And so this is to tie the hole.
Doesn't look to be vintage Rory out there at the moment. The poor chip at the first. And then, albeit he was in a very awkward spot there at the second, more problems for the Europeans. It's Cantlay at the third. He's going to get that bounce, isn't he? Off the bank that we saw a little earlier from Morikawa.
You'd almost think they were playing that slope.
Poulter.
It's going left. That's okay.
Xander Schauffele to win the hole for a third birdie in a row for the US side here. In it goes. What a statement.
More trouble for Ian Poulter and Rory McIlroy here in the fourth. They're really off to a shaky start. Tell you what, he's moved that well forward from there.
This to win the hole for Xander Schauffele at the fourth. Needs to go.
Yeah, he's just lagging it up there to leave all the pressure on the Europeans. Back on the par 5 fifth. Patrick Cantlay.
Right out in the farthest part of the golf course on the front nine, fifth tee.
Yeah, he's going a bit up the left there, so that's going to be difficult to get there in two. this one from Ian Poulter. Needs a good one, and it should very much be easy on for Rory McIlroy. Need it in the fairway. It's going to be tough.
Up to 5, Poulter.
This will be a moment to kick this game into gear.
Good shot from Ian Poulter.
Cantlay, pretty similar shot. Wedge in hand. 3/4 swing. And a lot of bite on that. So let's hope that this is going to be the moment that we were hoping for the European pair.
Up ahead at the 5th. It's tracking. It's in for Xander Schauffele. The Europeans with a putt of their own to come, but might not have been expecting that. We know you meant to in this format.
I'll tell you, this hole is not very big for Rory McIlroy right now. 4 down, you're thinking you might get one back, and now all of a sudden you have this to tie the hole. 5 down after 5 holes. They didn't see that coming, and certainly Padraig Harrington didn't see that coming.
Seeing a lot of red numbers. There is a lot of red on that leaderboard. Back to 6 now with Schauffele.
Great swing.
These two are really coming into their comfort zone now.
Perfect. Well done.
5 off after 5. I'm not sure that's something I've ever experienced, certainly at this level.
Back to 6 with Rory McIlroy.
Well, the one thing about these two is they'll never give up. They'll keep going, they'll keep fighting, and so they should. You know, you've got to send a message to your teammate. Even if you're 5 down, you've got to send a message that we're still here, we're still fighting. Oh, Patrick Cantlay has got a great look at this one. I was about to say, didn't look like he enjoyed it that much, but that's the kind of year he's having. Everything is just going close to the hole. Maybe a little bit close, I think, for Ian Poulter here for that pin position. This is all about feel. And he can't get the spin.
To win the hole for Xander Schauffele. McIlroy missed their birdie putt. Ian Poulter still with a putt to come, you can see there, to try and tie the hole. But incredibly, that is the first hole that they have tied today in that match.
This is a really cool shot here. Intimidating for sure. It's a little bit easier today because of the calm winds, which are going to kick up this afternoon.
Hardly any movement in the air on that golf shot from Cantlay. All he needed was another 5 paces and then we've gone a lot closer.
Rory McIlroy to win the hole, to get one back at the 7th.
And it just keeps on not happening for these two. See the reaction here, a bit of a shoulder drop.
They are birdie free so far today.
This for par for Cantlay.
can see the marker of the Europeans. They too waiting for their par. In it goes for Cantlay. Yet to really make a mistake, Schauffele and Cantlay today. Technically 3 birdies on the scorecard for them. Is to tie for Ian Poulter, so that margin stays at 5 in the final game.
Smile on Poulter's face there, like, you know who I am? You made me putt that in the Ryder Cup. I mean, that's a pretty basic putt right there.
Also choosing the 3-wood on that 8th. Like we saw Dustin Johnson earlier. First couple of groups hit it in that long stuff on the left with the driver. So 3-wood seems the best play of this tee.
It's up to 8. Schauffele.
Difficult to see how close that really was, but the reaction from the gallery, I would say, would have been really close.
So down right of that 8th green, Xander Schauffele. A couple of feet left to come for par.
Would have been a bit of an unforced error from Cantlay there, from the fairway. So
McIlroy from long range and talking about needing to get something going. This is to win the hole, to cut the lead or the deficit for the Europeans to 4, and it slides by and slides well past the hole. It'll be the Americans to putt for par first.
Would have loved to just put that into gimme range, wouldn't they?
Oh, I mean, that's what they needed right now. They don't. They're 5 down.
A rare chance for Ian Poulter to win the hole here.
who would have thought that Ian Poulter will have his first putt to win a hole on number 8 in a Ryder Cup, but pretty confident about this. And obviously he wasn't.
Well, not only, yeah, I mean, that's not in gimme range right there. Wow.
It looks like they're really shaken up. This start from this pair has really shaken up what their actually pairing could really be. Now the question is, what do they do next with them in the week?
Well, that's a good point. We had a long discussion last night, all of us at dinner, and about the pairings and this type of thing. This is a pairing that I felt uncomfortable about for the Europeans. I just didn't feel like their games matched up. You know, I was kind of the dissenter in the group at dinner. Well, hold putt halved in bogeys, but the Europeans are still 5 down.
Back to 9 with Patrick Cantlay.
The American team being 5 up, they can't get lackadaisical or start playing safe, because Poulter and McIlroy have the ability to roll off 5 or 6 birdies in a row, even in a foursomes format.
Still trying to find that momentum change. That's obviously going left. It looked like a very hard swing.
Up to 9, Rory McIlroy, his second shot. Looks as though they might have got a little lucky with Poulter going left into the crowd.
Yeah, we were expecting that tee shot from Poulter to be left of the crowd, but found the green on 9, but a long way.
Second shot for Schauffele from the fairway. It's quite a bit downhill. Asking for the wind to help, but they're going to get a lot of help from the wind this afternoon. It's going to kick up about 12:30 and get very windy.
Long range putt from Poulter. It still doesn't happen. That looked very good for a long time. You can see Poulter is just staying in that corner of the green on 9, looking at the trees. He just wants to be on his own. He almost rips his jumper off. That's how much it means to him.
Cantlay for birdie at 9 to go, 6 up through 9 holes. Got a piece of the hole. This is just an amazing result. The Americans have really not made a mistake. The Europeans have made 3 bogeys.
Very surprised that has not been given. You can just tell that the mood the Europeans are in.
He'll be standing on this one, Rory McIlroy. 5 down. The anger will be coming out, and this is going left.
Let's just hope it stays right enough. That would be long stuff there.
At the 10th, a birdie putt to win the hole for McIlroy, and finally, they're off the mark, these two.
Well, I'll send one straight down the middle here in Poulter. Maybe just make the Americans think.
Get in the sand.
Excellent.
The crowd seems to starting to have a bit of fun with this last game.
We all know it, don't we? When you're playing match play, you lose one hole, okay, you lose a couple of holes, and all of a sudden the dynamic starts to change. Here's this 11th hole.
Yeah, one of the things I remember from my Ryder Cup experience is the point some of the guys were making of when you get to 3 up, you got to get to 4 up. 4 up, you can lose 2 holes, you can do a couple of mistakes, you're still 2. When you're 3, you lose your 2, you're 1, and that's a very tight game. So Jay was making a point that these guys in the last group were trying to keep that big advantage.
Well, they seem to like it. Normal service resumed for Patrick Cantlay after that slight wobble at the 10th. Rory McIlroy into the 11th.
Yeah, I agree with you, Thomas. I think we've only seen one convincing pair so far, and that's, you know, our 2 Spanish friends at the front.
Birdie putt for Xander Schauffele at the 11th.
Go. So we got 2, Europeans got 2 points to win the hole here. Now all of a sudden you're 3 down, you win the next, 2 down, and all of a sudden it's match.
Game on.
Could you imagine if they got something out of this match? They'll all be like, what? people. So I was watching on social media before everybody was talking about what's the biggest winning margin in a foursomes match in the Ryder Cup history. And I mean, I don't know the answer to that, but could you imagine if they got something out of it? All those people that were writing that on social media will have red ears.
If you've got two, take two. And that is another hole to McIlroy and Poulter. And that's 2 in a row. And from 5 down, they are 3 down. So the tide is turning in that match. (14). Big one, 12, and McIlroy.
Perfect moment to go close and keep going in the right direction. Looks like on a pretty good line. Come back. Perfect. One of the good ones we've seen today.
McIlroy has put the Europeans into about 5 or 6 feet. This is Xander Schauffele.
And even better from Xander Schauffele.
Yeah, what a response that was.
Indeed.
Yeah, that's a big goal shot, that. Just lost 2 holes in a row. You've got to stand up. The Europeans put it in close. You've got to stand up and hit your shot. And you really did. Excellent goal shot. Pick that one up and put it in your pocket. Well, you think that this putt will be very, very important for this match. This is to tie. There you go. That's the way. You recognise that one. Might normally tap a little bit on the pads there with your right hand.
Here's Rory at the 13th.
I've seen a few close ones here today on 13 with the backdrop. That looks like it's going left just a touch. It's feeding off that slope. And it ends up being really good. So these 2 boys in the last group still trying to get the most out of that last game and stay on the course as long as possible.
The reply from Schauffele. It's a beautiful rhythm, isn't it, to that swing?
He's just a beautiful golfer. Does everything right.
13, Ian Poulter for birdie. Gonna need this. There you go, starting to roll a few in. The unfortunate thing for Ian Poulter and Rory McIlroy is that Xander Schauffele is playing some golf. So this one is to tie the hole. Very rarely misses any of those, Patrick Cantlay. And certainly this season he's been a stellar performer from inside 10 feet.
Cantlay second at the 14th. And they're just continue to keep the pressure on McIlroy and Poulter. This has really gotten tight the last couple of holes. The Europeans won the 10th and 11th. 12 and 13 have both been halved in birdies. Great play.
So now for the birdie putt at 14 for McIlroy, up on the green. No, just misses on the high side. So this now for the birdie to win the hole for Schauffele and Cantlay at 14. In it goes. They're guaranteed a strong lead and at least a half point with that putt. It's been a pretty topsy-turvy morning, but the US have never lost the advantage in Game 3 and Game 4.
tee shot at 15 for Cantlay. The Europeans are going to need a Philip Price moment from somebody.
Well, they're going to need something this afternoon. I mean, you can lose a session, and they're on the route to lose a session 3-1. But you've got to expect to lose a session. You've got to expect that if playing an American team like this, you're not going to win 4 sessions. Yeah, they might be fizzing out of Ian Poulter and Rory McIlroy now, being 4 down. Still got to hit the shots. You never know in golf.
McIlroy with both teams on the fairway at 15.
Oh, really needed to get that on the green, needed to get it pretty close. An okay shot from McIlroy. Not certainly the standard they need.
So more to come as we go back to Schauffele at 15. Their second shot.
Yeah, this one going right at the flag, drawing on the wind. Another wonderful shot for the Americans. They only need a half at the 15th to close out this match in the bottom game.
This for birdie, a much needed one.
And in years past, those were putts that Ian Poulter hauled. And right now, the Americans are going to have 2 putts to win the match.
It's a fist.
They're
going to concede right there, and that's a sportsman thing to do.
Absolutely, that's how you do it. You know, you're not going to let those 2 guys stand there and take that joy either with the crowds. You know, they roll up, the crowds get louder, and they get more things going on. You just go, well, you know what? You played better than us. You're not going to 3-putt it from there. Well done, well played. On to the afternoon.
To watch another Ryder Cup video, click here. To subscribe, click here.